I walked into the Monday morning boardroom and saw two cherry danishes sitting untouched next to the coffee urn. Right there, I knew something was off. At McAllister and Sons, those things disappear before 8:30. It was already 9. My name's Garrett. I'm 41. I live in Ridgewood, New Jersey. I've worked for my father's firm since I was 24. Thought I'd die there, partner someday, maybe even take over. That morning ended all of that. My dad, Richard McAllister, founder and human statue, cleared his throat with that dry little wheeze he does when he's about to say something he thinks will go down in history. Everyone turned. "Let's take a minute to recognize an important milestone," he said. "We'd like to congratulate Mark on becoming our newest partner." Mark, my younger brother, 3 years younger, twice as loud, and maybe half as competent on a good day. Same guy who once told a vendor to bring broads, not brochures, to a Vegas conference. That Mark. He shot up from his chair like he'd been launched, knocked his knee on the damn table, and still grinned like he just won a Harley in a gas station sweepstakes. "Man, this is nuts. Thanks, Dad." He even had the nerve to look surprised, like this wasn't something they cooked up on a golf cart 3 weeks ago. Quick note, before listening, share which city or country you're watching from. I looked around the table. No one would meet my eyes. The managing partners avoided me like I was contagious. My dad gave me this weak-ass nod, like I was supposed to clap or give a speech. Like this wasn't the biggest slap in the face of my career. Instead, I stood up, walked over to Mark, shook his hand, and said, "Congrats, partner. Just try not to tank any six-figure accounts this quarter." He laughed like I was joking. I wasn't. I didn't flip a table or yell. That would have given them too much. I turned, walked out the glass doors, and left them all sitting there with their dry danishes and spineless grins. The silence behind me was louder than anything I could have said. Let them chew on that. I didn't look back when I stepped into the hallway. The second those glass doors shut behind me, it felt like breathing after holding my head underwater. I passed the wall of plaques by the elevator. Out of 51 awards, I'd personally led or landed 44. You'd think maybe, just once, they'd slap my name on a frame. But every single one had either Richard McAllister or the McAllister team. Like, I didn't exist outside the spreadsheets. I hit the lobby button instead of B1 Client Archives. That was small, but it felt like setting fire to the rulebook. The elevator was too quiet. I could hear my own heartbeat in the panels. When the doors opened, I walked straight past the receptionist and out to the lot like I was late for lunch. Nobody stopped me. Nobody even looked up. Got in my car and just sat there. Didn't start the engine. Didn't even touch the keys. I stared through the windshield at the neighbor's front yard across the street. A squirrel was having a mental breakdown trying to carry half a donut over a garden gnome's head. I watched it lose, twice. I didn't feel angry yet. Just tired. Like 17 years of holding the place up finally collapsed in my chest. When I finally turned the key, I didn't think. I just drove. No destination, no playlist, no call to my wife. Just asphalt and silence. At home, I went straight past the kitchen, left the mail pile untouched, bills still wrapped in grocery store flyers and real estate ads. I kept going until I hit the desk. That desk meant something to me. I'd built it the day after we landed the Stratwood freight contract, our biggest client ever. We only got it because I fixed a disaster Mark caused when he shipped $22 million worth of high-end server racks to Norway instead of New York. The client was ready to walk. I salvaged it in 48 hours. The deal closed. My dad gave a speech. All Mark got credit. I sat down, opened my laptop, and logged into LinkedIn. No manifesto, no long-winded goodbye. Just 4 words. Exploring new opportunities. Hit post. Didn't even get up to grab water before the first ping landed, then another. By the 20-minute mark, 3 recruiters had already messaged me. One from Halston and Briggs sent a virtual bouquet with the subject line, "Been waiting for this day." No one asked what happened. No one needed to. Word spreads fast in this industry, and people know who does the real work. Another message popped in, then another. No flames, no explosion. Just the quiet sound of my name finally carrying weight. I clicked open a message from an executive recruiter in Boston and typed out 2 words, "Let's talk." Then I hit send. The recruiter's reply hadn't even come in yet when I heard my phone buzz again. Not a ping this time, a vibration. Different inbox, private, 1 word, lunch, no sender name, no subject line. Just that. I stared at it for maybe 3 seconds before pushing the phone away and standing up. Didn't need to ask who it was, I knew. Across town, in my father's kitchen, the mood wasn't so calm. By 8:30 sharp, his ancient beige landline rang, the same one he refused to replace, like owning it made him more approachable. He answered it, like always, on the second ring. Alan Trask didn't waste time. "We're pulling out." That's all he said. 3 words, no explanation, no yelling, no warning, just done. If you knew Trask, that was worse than a screaming match. When he said pulling out, it meant contracts were already shredded, trucks rerouted, files locked down. The body was buried before the family got the call. My dad stood frozen in the middle of his kitchen, hands still gripping his toast, but not biting. Burnt edges, cold coffee, silence. Mark, God help him, asked from the hallway, "Wait, who's Stratwood again?" Then he actually sat down and opened his laptop. Typed in, "What is Stratwood?" like a summer intern doing prep for a networking call. If I'd been there, I probably would have flipped the toaster through the damn window. They didn't issue a press release, didn't send a client memo, nothing. Just let the blood drain out. Like maybe if they stayed quiet long enough, the market wouldn't smell it. Meanwhile, I was sitting at my kitchen table, coffee going lukewarm, watching my LinkedIn inbox explode like a bag of fireworks in a microwave. Not just recruiters now, former colleagues, old clients, even 2 interns from 5 years ago, all saying the same kind of thing. Knew this day would come, about damn time. Where are you headed? But none of that mattered, not yet. Because lunch was sitting on my screen, and I wasn't going to pretend it was a coincidence. Trask didn't send long emails, didn't schedule meetings. If he wanted to talk, it was short and sharp. And it meant something. I didn't respond right away. Let it sit for a minute while I checked my calendar, empty, obviously, and went to throw on a clean shirt. Button down, not a blazer. Trask hated pretense. Back at McAllister and Sons, the phones weren't ringing. They'd already stopped. The freight guys don't wait around when the supply chain leader pulls anchor, because Stratwood wasn't walking away from a contract. They were walking away from him. And maybe from them, Mark, the whole nepotism circus. I took another sip of my coffee and pulled my phone back. Opened the message, hit reply. Time and place? 3 dots popped up almost instantly. Then, Porter and Rowe. 12:30. Back booth. I closed my laptop. Didn't pack a bag. Didn't check emails. I just stood, walked to the closet, and grabbed the same jacket I wore to the Stratwood pitch 7 years ago. Still fit. Still ready. Porter and Rowe smelled like olive oil, burnt rosemary, and overcompensation. One of those sleek downtown spots where the chairs are uncomfortable on purpose, and the menus look like startup pitch decks. I walked in 5 minutes early. Trask was already there. Back booth, facing the door. Of course. He didn't stand, didn't shake my hand, just nodded once and pushed a glass of water across the table. "You still don't drink at lunch, right?" I nodded. He was testing to see if I'd changed. I hadn't. The waiter came by. Trask ordered salmon over ancient grains, said it like it was a dare. I ordered whatever had steak in the name. Medium, no sides. We didn't talk about McAllister, didn't talk about Stratwood either. He just reached into his coat pocket, pulled out a folded piece of paper, and slid it across the table like it was a playing card. No folder, no presentation. Just a single printed sheet. Looked like it had been ready for weeks. My name was at the top. Managing Director, Strategic Crisis Solutions. Equity package, full autonomy, departmental budget already locked in, no board, no senior partners, no legacy holdovers riding the coattails of people like me. Just results. I read it once, then again. Didn't ask questions. Trask finally leaned back, fork in hand, no expression. "Your brother opened with a football analogy," he said. Something about fourth quarter drives and locker room grit. I didn't react. Then he pitched me on brand synergy. He stabbed his salmon like it insulted him. "I don't do business with mascots." I nodded. "That's fair." He also called Stratwood a legacy client, like we were a Christmas ornament. That was the last sentence he got out. I set the paper down and folded my hands. "And this offer?" "It's not charity," he said. "I don't invest in loyalty. I invest in capability. You kept my supply chain alive through 2 global back orders, 3 vendor lawsuits, and a rail strike. You didn't call a meeting, you just solved it. I let that hang there. Trask dabbed his mouth with his napkin, like the conversation bored him. Here's the deal. You'll have a team, you'll have budget, but no shield. You fail, it's on you, but you succeed. He trailed off. Let's just say M&A won't be calling your brother. I looked down at the offer again. No fluff, just hard numbers. My name spelled right, and a job that didn't smell like hand-me-down power. I didn't touch my steak. My appetite was gone. I won't sign today, I said. I wouldn't want you to, Trask replied. Take a week. You'll say yes by Thursday. He meant it. Wasn't even a question, just a fact waiting to happen. I need to handle a few things. He raised an eyebrow, but didn't push. You've earned the time. We didn't do dessert. I picked up the check out of habit. He didn't argue, just stood, nodded once, and walked out like he'd already crossed the item off his to-do list. I sat there a minute longer, then folded the offer back up, tucked it into my jacket, and walked out without looking back. I walked straight out of Porter & Row, got in my car, and dialed the number Trask had scribbled on the back of his business card. Carla Simons. Ex-SEC, no bullshit. The kind of lawyer who could kill a deal with a single raised eyebrow. She answered on the second ring. I need contract review. Yesterday, I said. Bring everything, she replied, then hung up. Her office was a converted brownstone in Hoboken. Quiet, no signage, no receptionist, just a keypad and a camera. I punched in the code she texted me and stepped into something that felt more like a forensic lab than a law firm. She didn't offer coffee or water, just pointed to a chair and said, "Start talking." I handed her the contracts I'd pulled: employment, severance, vendor NDAs, partnership proposals they never finalized. She combed through the pile like she was gutting a fish. No non-compete stick, she said. They're too broad. Might as well have written it on a napkin. What about client outreach? No direct solicit for 12 months, but you're clean if they reach out first. That was all I needed to hear. I could play the long game if I had to. But then, Carla held up one form and squinted at it. This one's bad. It was a compliance clearance tied to Lexom Capital, my last major restructure before leaving. A nightmare deal Mark almost torpedoed when he listed them under the wrong industry code. I'd had to babysit the whole process just to keep it on track. This your signature? She asked. I looked at it. Not even close. The G was wrong. The angle was off. The slash through the T didn't even match my pen stroke. It looked like someone tried to copy my signature while drunk and blindfolded, and I knew exactly who it was. Mark, I muttered. Carla tapped the page with her pen. Wrong invoice codes, wrong timestamps. This doc's fake. If they use this in a financial filing or client handoff, that's internal fraud. If they didn't disclose it to legal, it's even worse. She didn't smile, didn't need to. What do we do with it? She flipped it over, grabbed a clean envelope, and started sliding things in. We don't go public, she said. We go silent. An hour later, we were back in her office printer room. No cameras, no signatures. She dropped the envelope in a plain brown interoffice mailer. Subject line in bold black Sharpie. Due diligence. No name, no sender, no return address. We'll send it to their legal inbox through an anonymous drop server, she said, from inside the firewall. It'll land like a ghost. I nodded. You sure you want this fire lit? She asked. I didn't hesitate. It's already burning. By the next morning, McAllister & Sons' internal Slack channels were humming. One thread called WTF is this.pdf started making the rounds. People asked questions. Legal didn't answer. Nobody pinged me. They wouldn't dare. But someone flagged the signature mismatch. Someone else spotted the wrong vendor ID. By noon, the whole compliance team was pulled into a private channel. I sat at home, sipping my coffee. It started with a ping. A junior analyst at McAllister, some poor kid probably still eating cereal for dinner, accidentally posted a client summary to the entire company channel instead of just finance. Accounts requesting Garrett's contact info: Stratwood, Lexom, Tracer1, Doyle. 10 words, no fluff, no spin. By the time someone yanked it down, it had already been screenshotted, reshared, and sent to Wall Street Pulse. They published it under the headline, Clients Defecting from M&S? It exploded. No official comment, no denial. just a heavy corporate silence while people scrambled to check if their badge still worked. That same afternoon, a former VP, Michelle Langston, the only exec who ever had a spine in that place, posted something on LinkedIn. Garrett J's new firm shows what happens when you bet on skill, not birthright. Short, no tags, no hashtags. But it lit up. I sat there watching the comments pour in like cold water hitting hot grease. The real brain behind M&S. Should have been partner 5 years ago. Told you Garrett wasn't the problem. Someone even dug up an old photo from the Stratwood signing day. Me shaking hands, Mark off in the background, blurry and irrelevant. Then came Mark's attempt at damage control, a post with a stock headshot and 3 bold words in the header: resilience, legacy, transition. It read like he told ChatGPT to write a eulogy for a dying brand. McAllister and Sons has weathered many storms. As we navigate forward with purpose, we remain committed to the values that built our legacy. He even put a quote from my father at the end. Something about vision lasting longer than disruption. It was a joke. So was the reaction. Comments turned it into a roast. One reply just said, "How's Norway?" Another, "Define legacy." And then the stock price dipped. Not a crash, but enough to trigger boardroom heart palpitations. Meanwhile, I met Trask again. This time, no lunch. Just a conference room with frosted glass, 1 assistant, and 2 pens. He handed me the final paperwork. Managing Director, Garrett Strategic Solutions. "Full autonomy," he said. "No board interference. You set the tone." I scanned the final terms. Equity locked, budget approved, my name on the door. Real strategy work, not babysitting, not cleanup duty for other people's mess. "Any last questions?" Trask asked. "Just one," I said. "How soon can we hire?" He smirked. "Already started. You've got 5 applicants from your old office." I signed. We shook hands. No photos, no champagne. I left the building, stepped out onto the sidewalk, and let the air hit me full in the chest. Not relief, just movement. Finally, forward. Across town, Mark was probably drafting his next post. Maybe something about perseverance. Maybe another AI-written tribute to family. Didn't matter. That wasn't my story anymore. We named it Garrett Strategic Solutions. Not flashy, not legacy. Just straight to the point. Like we intended to run it. No founders' kids, no frat bros. No one who got there because of their last name or their dad's tea time. Every person we brought on had a track record, not a connection. Carla came by week 1, went over the Lexum doc again with a red pen like she was scoring a high school essay. "Forged signature equals internal controls violation," she said. "They'll have to investigate it quietly. It's too obvious now." "How bad?" I asked. "Bad enough that legal will report it up. They can't bury this." It didn't stay quiet long. By Tuesday, the Whisper networks were wide awake. A mid-level compliance manager from M&S posted a vague status on LinkedIn about leadership rot and compliance nightmares. It didn't tag anyone, didn't need to. Then someone tweeted from a burner account. "This is what happens when you promote the clown instead of the ringmaster." It hit 4,000 retweets in an hour. The next day, 3 more clients reached out. Not to schedule meetings, not to ask what I was building. They were done talking. They were switching. I didn't chase them, they chased me, and the calls started. My father rang once around 8:30 in the morning, let it go to voicemail, then again around noon. No message that time. The 3rd call came in around 6:15. I let it buzz right through. He didn't text, didn't email. What was he going to say? "Sorry I gave your life's work to the family screw-up? Sorry I needed you more than I wanted you?" It didn't matter anymore. This wasn't revenge. This was gravity. I just stopped holding up the house. Back at the office, we brought on our 6th employee, a logistics analyst from TracerOne, who walked out the same day their Q2 numbers dropped, said she wanted to work someplace where execution actually means something. We gave her a desk, a laptop, and full access by end of day. I asked her what she needed from us. Her answer? "Just don't waste my time." She fit right in. That night, I stood in the break room, eating half a bag of almonds when Carla walked in. "They're officially investigating the Lexum doc," she said. Internal memo went out. "Quiet or noisy?" "Very quiet, which is how you know it's real." I nodded. "Anything else?" She pulled out her phone, opened a fresh email. showed me the subject line. Inquiry RE, New Representation, Doyle Manufacturing. I smiled for the first time that day. We'll take it, I said. 2 weeks later, I walked through the side entrance of the Valencia Executive Summit, suit pressed, speech folded twice in my inside pocket. McAllister and Sons had the front row table, gold-etched nameplate, deep chairs, chilled wine they probably didn't order. They were being honored for legacy impact, which, in that room, was code for you, used to matter, and we're being polite about it. I entered from the wings. I wasn't a guest. I was the keynote speaker. The MC gave some bland intro about disruption through discipline, said my name like he wasn't sure if I was a product or a person. I took the stage, didn't adjust the mic, didn't look down at my notes. I looked at the room. Executives in five-figure suits, wealth built on bloodline, not backbone. The kind of people who quote innovation books they didn't finish and make strategic pivots after brunch. And at the very center, table A1, my father, arms folded, jaw tight. Mark was next to him, scrolling his phone like it might rescue him. I didn't smile. I started speaking. Strategy is only as strong as the hands that hold it, I said. But in too many boardrooms, vision gets hijacked by familiarity. Execution is buried under brunch schedules. And leadership, well, sometimes it's inherited, not earned. A few people shifted in their seats. I didn't stop. I've seen billion-dollar opportunities disappear under job titles no one could justify. I've watched skilled people passed over in favor of surnames. I've watched credit assigned not by contribution, but by who sat closest to power. I paused. Let the silence thicken. No names, no need. They knew. I kept going, clear, sharp, not bitter, just true. Real leadership isn't loud. It doesn't come from golf buddies, from handshakes, or from press kits. It comes from execution, from results, from the person who fixes what the legacy hire broke and never asks for applause. A few people glanced toward the McAllister table. Mark didn't look up. My father didn't blink. I finished it clean. Never underestimate the one you kept in the background. They were paying attention the whole time. Silence followed. Not awkward, just heavy. Then came the applause. Slow at first, one table, then another. It wasn't thunderous. It was measured, half respect, half relief. I walked off stage without looking at the front row. Didn't shake hands, didn't stop for photos. I'd said what needed to be said, and they'd heard it, every last one of them. After the gala, I didn't go home. I went up. Rooftop lounge at the Barton Building. Cool air, low lighting, skyline humming in the distance. Miles was already there. Gray sport coat, drink in hand, shoes off. Always hated dress shoes. He used to be my intern. Ran coffee, took notes, kept his head down, even when the meetings turned to knife fights. Now he was VP of Ops at a tech advisory firm and running circles around people twice his age. We clinked glasses without saying much. Scotch, neat, no toast. After a beat, he finally spoke. They're finished. I didn't ask who he meant. We both knew. I took a sip. Let the silence sit. They tried to post a hiring freeze announcement as a strategic reallocation of resources, he said. Didn't even last 12 hours. Glassdoor lit up like a bonfire. I let out a short laugh. Still spinning. They're not spinning. They're unraveling. By then, half of McAllister's staff had reached out to us. Not just junior analysts, account leads, logistics managers, one of their in-house legal team. No dramatic exits, just slow, steady bleed. One by one, they were finding their way out. And straight to my inbox. I checked my phone. 8 new messages, 5 resumes, 2 client referrals. 1 request for a meeting, anywhere that doesn't smell like funeral flowers. Then the one that hit. Subject line, Q3 revenue summary, Garrett Strategic. I opened it right there. We'd beaten McAllister and Sons by 8%, with 1/3 their staff, and none of their legacy drag, no dead weight, no senior partners playing dress up, no million-dollar screw-ups quietly swept under the rug. Just real people doing real work. I didn't say anything to Miles. I just hit forward, typed in my father's email. Subject, legacy delivered. No body text, no attachments, no pitch, just that. He didn't reply. He didn't need to. That email landed harder than any speech, any exit, any staged handshake. He would read it, stare at the screen for a few minutes, and probably wonder how long ago the ground started crumbling under him. Truth was, it started the moment I stopped fixing it. Miles finished his drink. "You want another?" "Nah," I said. This one was enough. We stayed up there a little longer. Watched the lights shift across the Hudson, the way cities always look like they're holding their breath before dawn. Then I stood up, checked my phone one more time, and saw another referral come in. Didn't even open it right away. Just smiled, nodded at Miles, and headed back inside. I got home just after 11, kicked off my shoes, loosened my collar, and walked straight to the window. Same view I'd had for 10 years, corner of Ridgewood and 6th, that blinking traffic light nobody ever fixed. The gas station sign with the broken S. But the silence felt new. I wasn't tired. I wasn't wired either. Just clear. Not because I'd won anything, not revenge, not success. Because for the first time in my adult life, I was out from under it. The firm, the family, the quiet grind of cleaning up behind people who never said thank you. I used to think that was loyalty. It wasn't. It was conditioning. I wasn't the fallback plan anymore. Wasn't the dependable son who'd stay late while others screwed off. Wasn't the one holding up the foundation while everyone else danced on the roof. Now I was the name on the damn door. Garrett Strategic. No sons, no ghosts. Across town, I knew exactly where he was. Same oak-paneled office. Same leather chair that smelled like bourbon and regret. The same desk where he once told me, "You've got talent, but no killer instinct." Tonight, that same man was probably sitting in the dark, rereading emails he didn't understand, getting grilled by lawyers who suddenly needed paperwork he swore was taken care of. The legacy he protected with both hands was collapsing in slow motion. And the worst part? He had no one left to blame. Mark was probably still in his bedroom/home office, refreshing LinkedIn and wondering why no one liked his post about resilience and change. Probably hadn't realized yet that the only people viewing his profile were recruiters checking boxes. My phone buzzed on the counter. Another client referral. No subject line. No long message. Just a name and a number and 2 words. Heard things. No push. No pitch. Just word spreading. That was the difference now. Back then, I chased. Now, they came to me. I didn't pour a drink. Didn't call anyone. Didn't open the laptop to track conversion metrics or revenue charts. That wasn't the moment for numbers. It was the moment after the building burned, after the smoke cleared, after you stopped trying to prove something to people who never looked past your last name. I turned off the lights, let the room go quiet, not as a surrender, as a start.